Hello, friends, and good evening. We're live again tonight. This is episode 105. We've been going live now for 105 nights straight, and we're just going to keep doing that until we're not anymore. But hey, I wanted to talk tonight about kind of asking the question of why is your money still in a traditional bank? There's some good reasons why you should leave your money in a traditional bank, at least some of it, and I've discovered there's some good reasons why you probably shouldn't leave it all in there. Before we get too deep into it, just want all of my friends to know that are on Facebook. I'm going to be dropping the Facebook stream here in just a minute, but in the description there is a link to join me over on YouTube. I do want to give you an opportunity to come on over there and join for the duration of this episode, but do want to get into that. And I talk a lot about Dogecoin over the last several weeks, and we will talk about it briefly. I mean, the first thing to say is, what a day it's had. Truly amazing. But I've had a lot of friends of mine, even people local to where I live, asking me questions about a lot of the things I've been talking about. And I think one of them that has struck a chord is, what do you mean I can earn 8% interest on my money, or I can earn maybe 10% interest on my money for 3 months, or I can earn 5.25% interest on a cryptocurrency that not only I'm earning the interest on, it's hopefully obviously increasing in value over time, appreciating, so you're earning interest on an asset that is appreciating in value versus dollars, which are, let's just use a 15% inflation rate for now. I could go into a lot of detail about why I think that's maybe roughly what it is, if not more. And I talked about this last night. Again, let's just assume you have $100 in the bank and you don't plan on using it for 2 years. Let's even just use a 10% inflation rate to make the math easy. In 2 years, you decide to use it, and it's only worth $80 instead of $100. But if you use some of the strategies I'm going to talk about tonight, and I'm going to talk about how to do it the easiest way possible. And I'm going to get to the comments here in a minute. I've got a number of regulars that join this stream that even know more than I do. There are a ton of options with regards to being able to earn interest on your crypto. I'm going to talk about what I believe are some of the easiest ways. At some point, you can get more advanced. And typically, I think generally speaking, it's true that the more you're able to earn, in some cases, the more you have to read the fine print, the more you have to potentially tie up your currency for a longer period of time. But what I'm going to talk about tonight is really going to focus specifically on Voyager, the Voyager app, and show you a little bit about what you can do there. Because number one, it's easy. If you're in the United States, it's US based. If you're not in the US, I'm not sure that you can actually use it. So I apologize to my international viewers, and I'll have to come up with some options there's a lot of Binance, for example. I know you can do a lot of that on Binance, and that's available to a lot of people if you're outside of the United States. So, hey, Mad Dog, thanks for joining again tonight. We're going to get into, again, talking about and asking the question and then answering the question, why is your money still in a traditional bank? So we're going to say goodbye for tonight, at least if you're on Facebook. So come on over to YouTube and join me there. The link is in the description, and we will keep going. All right, so what I wanted to do tonight, and we're going to get to a little bit about Dogecoin, because we talk about that a little bit every night. But like I said, it's just, the quick and dirty of it, it's performing amazingly well. It's gone, I think it started out in the mid 40s, maybe even as high as 49. In the past 24 hours, it's gone up, I believe, as high as 60, maybe even 61. It's now down back to, I think, 59 or so. Actually, I'm going to pull it up here for a second. Wow. No, I take that back. I knew I needed a glance, and I honestly, as exciting as it is, I don't look at it 24/7. It's at 64 cents. Wow. It could get to that 69 cents that a lot of people talk about tonight, possibly even. So, nonetheless, let's curb our excitement for Dogecoin for just a moment and talk more generally about how to earn interest on your money. What I would call significant or real interest, compared to what you can get in a savings account, a money market, a CD, in the bank, checking account, all of that. And so we're going to look at Voyager, and wanted to show you some of the things that you can do on there. And by the way, I do have a link for Voyager on my in the description. Sorry, I'm trying to think that through. Let me pull up. I thought I had it. Let me pull up a link real quick so that I can go through it, and we're going to talk about the basically what you can earn. All right, so here we are. This is one of the pages from the Voyager blog, and I will cut and paste this, or just use my link, and then you'll be able to navigate to this. But this is the May APR rates, and they do have some specials as well. So starting May 1st, which is a few days ago, you can earn up to 7% interest APR on the Voyager token. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about the Voyager token. I don't really know its purpose other than the fact that, this is the Voyager platform. It may have some ways of appreciating. I do know when I went and looked at it that it has been as low as, in the pennies. It's now at $3.33. If it doesn't over time appreciate for any reason, I'd have to study it. I would just stick with possibly USDC if you want something really easy to understand. The USDC is basically what's called a stable coin. You can just transfer money from your bank account right into Voyager and buy USDC with that, and then begin to earn interest on it immediately. And as you'll see down here, you can earn up to 10% on USDC, 7.25% on Bitcoin. If you have some Bitcoin or want to buy Bitcoin, you can buy all of these tokens on Voyager. You can transfer them in as well, and I think you get one free transfer. So you may already have some on a different platform, on a different exchange, where they don't, where you can't stake them, or where you can't earn interest, or maybe you just want to get them off of that exchange for one reason or another. You can do that. So you can earn 6.25% on Ethereum, and you have to hold at least 2,500. Oh, that's to get the bonus. But anyway, let's get down to the actual assets. So again, USDC 9%. That's pretty good. I mean, other places I've seen maybe a little bit more, other places a little bit less. But again, Voyager is easy to understand. It's an app only. You don't even have to go to a website. It's only on your phone. So some people may have an issue with that, but if so many people use their phone 90+% of the time that I don't think that's going to be an issue. There are some minimum balances that you have to hold for most of these. So USDC, basically the equivalent of the US dollar. It's pegged to the US dollar, so it's always going to be worth $1. So you're going to be earning basically 9% interest on your US dollar. Now, the great thing about this compared to some other platforms, and again, there's a plethora, if I can use that word, of options. So I'm trying to keep it simple, but there is no maturity or duration on these. You can literally earn it for however long you want. It's liquid. You can sell it. You can even opt out of earning interest for whatever reason if you wanted to do that. So you have ultimate flexibility The one thing that you have to take into consideration is, like most of these platforms, getting money in is fairly quick. Most of them give you immediate buying power, if you will. I think Voyager up to $5,000, and before the money actually gets there, and then beyond that, the money has to actually go through the bank transfer, which is 3 to 5 business days. Getting your money out, it can take longer at times. Just going to be honest with you. Not getting your money. In other words, if you sell, if you wanted to transfer your Bitcoin, if you will, if you want to just sell it and sell out, then you're immediately going to get the dollar equivalent for that, whatever the sell price is at that point in time. So it is liquid. It could take, I've heard on Voyager, potentially up to 7 days to get it to your bank. So keep that part in mind. And I'm not going to go through every one of these. You'll be able to look at it later, but you can pause the video if you want to as well. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, I'm very much interested in doing this for Polkadot. Polkadot right now is at about $36, I believe. So 25 of those is the minimum. So that's about $900 if I figured it out right. 8% interest on a up and coming coin that is certainly going to appreciate in value. That's something I'm looking at very closely. Again, the Voyager token, don't really know a lot about that. I'm not going to speak about all of these. Dash, not so familiar with that. Cardano is another one I will talk about. You have to have 1,000 of these, and Cardano is around $1.30 or so. So you're looking at $1,300 that you need to put in there. But again, 5.25% interest in Cardano is, presumed by many. And again, those that know more than I do have more time to evaluate, more resources. All of those things have a lot of good things to say about Cardano with regards to smart contracts and NFTs. Much more efficient than Ethereum. It is basically a souped up version of Ethereum. One of the co-founders of Cardano was a co-founder of Ethereum, and I'm not as good with names. I need to get started with memorizing some of these names, but that's another one you want to take into consideration, I would say. So USDC, Bitcoin and Ethereum, sure. Polkadot for sure. I would say Cardano for sure. I hear a lot of good things about Link, but I don't know so much about it. Dogecoin, now that's interesting, right? I don't know of any other place right now, just because I haven't looked every place, but you can earn 2% interest on your Dogecoin. So that's pretty good. Uniswap, I hear a lot of good things about it. Only 2% though. So Tezos is another one I'm hearing some good things about, but it's only 2%. Those are the ones that I'm familiar with. But basically, let's read through here real quick how it works. The Voyager Interest Program, and I'm going to get to the comments here in a minute, by the way, as well, so hang with me. You can actively trade crypto and earn interest at the same time with no lockups, or limits. So that's key, right? It's not limited by how much you can have in there to earn interest off of. And it's also not limited by maturity. If you're ready to cash out, you cash out. You still will earn interest for those days that it was in there. You do have to maintain a required minimum monthly average, however. So you will want to time it, right? So in other words, if you're going to cash out some, you might want to time that to where you're cashing out right at the beginning of the next month, right? So in other words, let May go all the way through. If you're ready to cash out some, as long as you can wait at least, cash out and at least keep the minimum in there until the end of the month, and then cash out. You are automatically enrolled. You can turn it off, like I said, but why would you? I don't know. There's probably a reason why you would opt out, but I can't imagine why. Again, you can get the app, use my link. I think you get $25 if you use my link. And by the way, if the music is too loud, let me know. Hopefully you're enjoying the soothing music in the background. You can deposit any asset by scanning a QR code So basically, each asset that I just showed you, you can get a QR code or basically a unique, in essence, wallet number, and then transfer that in. The cool thing is you could actually even have someone else transfer coins, I'm assuming, right, into this account for you if you wanted to. Crypto transfers will be reflected in your Voyager account once the blockchain transaction is confirmed. Just keep in mind it can take up to 20 minutes for your transfer to appear. So if you're transferring it from a cold wallet, for example, or any type of wallet, or from another exchange, those types of things. Once it shows up, or once it shows as pending in your account, it's immediately available to be sold to USD and traded for any of Voyager's available coins. USD deposits will be immediately available for trading. Now, the way I got started, I transferred in $100 from my bank account into USDC and started earning 9% immediately. I think right now there is like I mentioned, a promotion going on where you can get up to 10. So that's the interest part of it. I want to also show you, and then we're going to be done, or actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the comments just for a minute. Let's see if we've got some people joining. Okay, so we do still have some people on here. So let's go back. And I do want to also show you the supported coins. So not only can you earn the interest, not only can you bring in US dollars or transfer in your crypto from other places, you can actually buy, sell a really good number of cryptocurrencies. Honestly, now they have almost all of the ones that I'm interested in. I think maybe the only one that I'm interested in that I can't buy here right now is BNB. And I'll tell you what that is in a minute if you don't know, or I'll actually use it right here. Let's actually go and do our market cap. Sorry, let's do this again. Market cap. Okay, there we go. Binance Coin, BNB. Hearing a lot of good things about the Binance Smart Chain, and this is the native coin that's used on the Binance Smart Chain. And yes, it's $628. It's still less than Ethereum and Bitcoin, but on almost all exchanges you can buy fractional fractional coins, but it's not available on Voyager. But what is available, which I'm really keen on, is Cardano. I'm not going to read all of these, but at least the ones that I'm interested in. Bitcoin, of course. Dash, again, I hear some good things about. Dogecoin, of course. Doge, Polkadot or Dot. Ethereum. Another interesting thing, Ethereum Classic, it's actually for the 1 day or single day today, and 7 day. It's actually very, very close to Dogecoin performance-wise this week. So that's kind of interesting. Hedera hashtag or HBAR is another interesting one. When you look at the supply chain type tokens that are out there, those that are the projects that have a token that's basically to solve supply chain management problems, very specifically. There's VeChain, which I'll talk about here in a minute as well, and then there's HBAR, Hedera. The one thing about HBAR that I'm not so thrilled about is it's really a consortium of actual commercial companies. So, you kind of wonder at times, are they really following the principles of what you would expect with blockchain technology, where it's transparent, where it's decentralized and all those kinds of things. So, but of course, with Bitcoin being the grandfather of all of these, and with that code being in the open source, then a lot of these other projects have started with Bitcoin or a variant of Bitcoin as their starting point and then added what they wanted to add. I think it's probably going to be hard to find a project that started literally from scratch, no code at all, from their predecessors. Okay, what else do we have here? USDC, of course, Uniswap, as I mentioned. USDT is another common stablecoin. VeChain, they're based out of China, but they have arguably the lead and very little competition other than HBAR with regards to solving supply chain management issues, track and trace, inventory, all of those kinds of things. And they've got a lot of good use cases that have been coming out. So something you want to consider. You can earn interest on that as well. Tezos you can earn interest on. As we said, that's another one that I would highly recommend you look into, at least. So let's go to one other thing, and then we're going to kind of move on. That's honestly it from the earning interest on your money. And so the question, or the title, if you will, to this video is kind of tongue-in-cheek. In other words, why would you keep at least a large portion of your cash in a bank, or even a savings account for that matter, when you could earn a lot more interest? And if you're doing that on a cryptocurrency, not only you're earning interest, that if you're picking the right ones, knowing that the market is the market and you can't control everything, but all things being equal, with your crypto being appreciating in value over time, then it's the best of both worlds. You've got an asset that you're earning interest off of, not US dollars. And again, we know US dollars are, I'm going to suggest, basically inflating by about 15% a year. I have another article I'm going to pull up in a minute, which related to inflation, which is kind of related to all of this. But one other thing, and I have also the link to BlockFi as well in the description. BlockFi, I would say, especially if you're focused on Ethereum and Bitcoin, those are two of the ones that I know for sure, and USDC, where you can earn interest on, then this may be a good option because, and maybe you actually want to have both and I have both a Voyager account and a BlockFi account, because with BlockFi you can get signed up for a credit card that's basically a kind of a loyalty card, if you want to think of it that way. You're earning basically Bitcoin as you use it. So I'm not telling you to get yet another credit card. If you use credit, if you have a credit card and you use, and that's the way that you buy some things, pay for some things, then you might consider using BlockFi to do that. You can fund that, I believe, with USDC, so that you're if that's what you want to do. But nonetheless, you can basically, with that credit card, earn Bitcoin as you're using it. So check that out. Go to strammel.info/BlockFi or strammel.info/Voyager and get signed up for those. Of course, these accounts don't cost you anything to create. Transfer money in both cases the same way. It's painless to make that deposit from your bank, and you can get started earning interest instead of basically paying for your money to be in something. So let's now go to one other thing that I wanted to show, which is kind of our State of the Union, as I call it, for the day, for the past 24 hours for the cryptocurrency space. Total crypto market cap is 2.26 trillion. It increased by 1.34% today, which honestly I've typically not looked at this. I'm going to have to look at this in the future to see how it's increasing, but I know it did go up today. Here in a minute, you're going to be floored if you haven't been paying much attention to what Dogecoin is doing, but Bitcoin is still number one, but its market dominance is gradually going down. I wish they actually showed it right here. We have to drill into something else to see it, but as far as dominance with regards to its market cap, it is still number one, but Ethereum is catching up. Others are taking more of the total. But as you can see, it's Bitcoin is still roughly two-thirds more than the next closest thing. Ethereum, though, had a great run today. They don't actually show the I wish they actually showed the this is the current price, but I wish they were showing the high today. It was 35 something, so Ethereum's been great. The one thing that I'll say about it as well, I mean, right now with the swings that you're seeing, it's something that you could potentially make some money trading multiple times a day. I've done that on Robinhood and made actually some good money over the next couple of days, or over the last couple of days. And I'll also have every intention of holding once some of the volatility is gone, because there are a lot of folks out there, again, analysts saying that Ethereum is going to get to 5,000 sooner rather than later. 10,000 and then even 20,000 is in play, and so right now I would say is a good time to get into Ethereum. I would if you could, I would get one or two whole coins if you can, or get some fractional coins, but I would say put some of your portfolio or place Ethereum into your portfolio at some level. Of course, now the big news today, 67 cents on Dogecoin, which it's so close to the 69, it's not even funny. A lot of millionaires have been made. The naysayers, I think, are now having to eat their words. We'll see what happens when it gets to $1. Who knows where it's going to stop and what's going to happen. I think there are a lot of people that believe that once it gets to $1, that is the exit point for a lot of people. Let's be real and honest. It's all the way from Bitcoin on down. People will say they're going to hold, but whether it's an institution or an individual, it seems to be that to be a hodler is to be revered, and to take profit or to sell is somehow bad. I actually think either one is perfectly fine. You get to do what you want to do. It's your money. It's your goals, your desires, all of that. There's plenty of people out there that are going to do both to support whatever direction you want to go. So if you want to sell, just make sure you sell or try to sell at the highest point possible. Buy at the lowest point possible. It's really weird, because they talk a lot about people buying high and selling low. It's the opposite of what you want to do, right? You want to buy low, sell high. So anyway, Dogecoin has had an amazing run over the last month, let's say. Now look at this though, market cap 86 billion. We're actually going to look at the history in just a minute, because that's crazy. And then the volume, 46 billion. So let's actually drill down here for just a minute and look at the historical data, because this gives us some indication of what it's done, right? So it's at 67 right now, but the high for the 24-hour period, I guess, when they captured this was 60. But again, it's at 67.72 right now, which is crazy. Volume, that's off as well, right? Because when we go look at it, but nonetheless, crazy. But let's look at the third, because that's truly a 24 period. Volume 10 billion, and it's 47 billion. So that's an incredible increase, as well as the market cap. It went up 17 billion. And then the day before that, it was 57 billion. So incredible run. If you're new to my stream and new to Dogecoin, it is heavily influenced by just people being excited about the coin, excited about it being used for everyday items. More and more places are allowing you to use Dogecoin to pay for things, whether it's Bugatti's the most expensive car literally in the world, production car, whether it's jewelry, Rolex, Cartier, some of the most expensive hotels around, tickets to the Mavericks, tickets to the Houston Rockets. The Oakland A's made history today, selling the first tickets ever, or the first items ever for Major League Baseball. 40, anyway, it was really cheap. I don't remember the exact amount. There's probably 100 people that have already talked about it today, but really cool. So I guess the bottom line is, if you're new to Dogecoin, there's a lot of anticipation with regards to Elon Musk doing being the host of Saturday Night Live. He has, I think, is confirmed with as much as much as he's going to confirm that he's actually that the theme of the night will definitely include the Dogecoin in it. So that's going to be interesting. A lot of people are obviously pushing for that $1 mark. Given the momentum it has behind it right now, I have very little doubt that it could reach the $1 mark. I don't know what it can do beyond that, but also be aware, not hoping for this, but you just need to be aware. And I hope you're getting to see this before May 8th, but just be prepared that once it hits $1, let's assume it hits $1. If that truly is the exit point for a lot of people, it's going to be a race to possibly a bottom of some sort, or a correction. Let's call it that. I don't want to say the bottom because I don't know where it would go if there's a massive sell-off. But as open as people are about supposedly being hodlers, we're talking about people that now are sitting on, literally in some cases, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of dollars, and they haven't sold it yet. They're waiting, or that's what it'll be worth when it hits $1, and so that will be obviously hard for a lot of people to sell, and I wouldn't blame them. So again, who am I to tell someone not to sell or to sell? They get to decide. It's their money, it's their investment strategy. They don't owe anything to anyone else, and you can't expect people to honestly do what they're going to say they're going to do. They're going to do what strikes them at the moment. So point is be ready, unless you want to ride it up again and potentially wait a while. I'm just saying this happens over and over again. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Dogecoin. I know the community is strong. I'm a part of that community. I'm just trying to be the voice of reason. There's a lot of hype behind this. A lot of people that have a vested interest in pushing this and pumping it. There are, lots of people that's all they're talking about, and that's perfectly fine and good. But, I just wonder if that's going to continue. Let's say if it goes back to 15 cents, what's going to happen? I would love for it to go back down to 15 cents in one way. Not because I want a lot of people to lose money, because that would be a good point to get more. So I think that it's etched a place, most likely in the top 10 or so of cryptocurrency. But it could have a major correction. We'll just use that term, either during the Saturday Night Live performance, sometime shortly after. who knows, right? Just be prepared. That's all I have to say about that. I just want you to be prepared. So, let's look at a few other things that we wanted to cover, and then we'll let everybody have the rest of their evening. There's actually a ton that I could go over. Lots of things going on. I do want to talk briefly about the broader market and some things that I think have a lot of impact on where all of this is going, not just Dogecoin, but in this article, Visa outlines 5 ways it's pushing into crypto. And by the way, before I mention that or talk about this, I heard today, I don't think I have the article. Maybe I retweeted it, and I'll just pull up my Twitter feed here in a minute. I'm starting to learn to use my Twitter feed as almost a guide or notes with regards to what I'm going to talk about during my live stream. But Visa outlines 5 ways it's pushing into crypto. Oh, I got off track there for a second. Sorry. PayPal, from what I understand, is buying up, has been buying up for quite a while now. 70% of the Bitcoin that's been mined. I don't know for how long. I'm gonna have to look that up, but I find that very, very interesting. You're hearing more and more about institutions buying up Bitcoin, especially. So don't rule out Bitcoin. I know a lot of people that are Dogecoin think that Bitcoin is too expensive for them, that you're too late. Again, you can buy fractional coins, and if it goes up to 1 million, which there are people that believe that it will, there are people that also believe that we're in what they call a super cycle. So look up in Google and say Bitcoin super cycle, and you can read about it. But there are those that believe that we're in a Bitcoin super cycle, although it didn't do well today. I think it lost, let me look and see. It's actually started recovering, but for the 24-hour period before, it had lost, it had gone down at least, or over 1,000. But nonetheless, Bitcoin could easily, I think, go to 200,000 before the end of this year. And what is that, 5x? And following year, even more. 1 million at some point. So there's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoin. And so it's already a scarce item. It's going to be even more scarce. And there are many that believe that it will become, in essence, a replacement for gold with regards to monetary systems. And, it has been embraced by JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, PayPal, as I mentioned, and here let's talk about Visa. So the financial services juggernaut's second quarterly earnings call this year identified 5 crypto opportunities for the company. Briefly, Visa wants to buy and spend crypto, wants you to buy and spend crypto. Now, here's the one thing that I would love to have some dialogue about. Again, if you're watching the replay, in the comments, please join in. If you're live here, join in the chat. But Visa and everyone, right? PayPal, Stripe, Venmo, which is part of PayPal, BlockFi, BitPay, all of these, everyone wants to get their piece of the pie. But here's what I think is the elephant in the room, if you will, and will have to be figured out before people broadly are going to adopt spending Bitcoin, especially, is why would you use, unless that's the only source of money you have, why would you use an asset that is appreciating in value considerably over time? Why would you dilute or reduce that asset to buy everyday goods as long as you had, a salary, if you will, or if you were earning fiat currency in one way or another. I would think that you would want to continue to allow your Bitcoin, in this particular case, to grow and earn interest on it, all the things. So I don't know, but interesting. That's going to be interesting to see. It says the payments company has partnered with crypto companies and financial institutions. Visa's also eyeing central bank digital currencies. Visa's chairman said on April 27th that the company has ambitious plans for digital currencies. I would say that this is a space that we are leaning into in a very, very big way, and I think are extremely well positioned. So how are they going to do this? Again, those 5 things. First of all, going to help you buy crypto. There's already tons of ways to buy crypto. You can buy it on BlockFi. You can buy it on Voyager, as I showed. Robinhood, but of course the problem with Robinhood is there's no deposits and withdrawals right now. Tons of exchanges, PayPal even, all of that. But Visa, of course, they're big, so they want to make it easy for you to be able to buy Bitcoin and other crypto. So it says Kelly reported an increase in the volume of crypto purchases with Visa cards from exchanges or peer-to-peer platforms, but didn't say by how much. It's pretty interesting to me. I mean, Visa would be the last place that I would go, I think, to buy it. But maybe if they're competitive, maybe if they give you some of the tools that you need to be able to do limit orders and that type of thing, then maybe it works. Kelly described Bitcoin as digital gold. We've heard that a lot, as a store of value. And it's one of the company's top priorities. And Kelly said his aim is to make it possible for Visa customers to buy Bitcoin directly and work with Bitcoin wallets to allow Bitcoin to be translated into a fiat currency. So, the way that that's going to happen as I see it, right? You're going to buy your Bitcoin. And at the moment that you're using your Visa card, it will basically extract enough fiat based upon the current price to, and then you pay your merchant in US dollars. Now, what's going to be interesting is some of these merchants already are using something like BitPay and actually want to be paid not in fiat, but they want to actually keep whatever cryptocurrency that the customer's wanting to pay in. So lots of options. Helping you spend crypto. Second, Kelly said the payments giant eyes an opportunity in converting crypto to fiat. Okay, we already said that. And using crypto for shopping. Instant conversions, okay, which I already kind of mentioned. 70 million merchants. Wow, now that's pretty amazing. It would mean that 70 million merchants could accept Bitcoin as payment. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know the numbers. I wonder how many people or how many excuse me, how many merchants, I should say, are using BitPay right now. I think BitPay is probably more focused in the U.S. right now, but I know they have an international presence. And we're the clear leader. They do definitely probably have the most merchants at 70 million. We've got over 35 digital currency platforms and wallets that have chosen to work with us. That's pretty interesting. So I guess you would basically, and it would be nice if they had exchanges as well. Of course, when they just say platforms, that includes like Coinbase, which we see here, Crypto.com. And by the way, Crypto.com, I don't know honestly where they're based out of. They do really good advertising, that type of thing. I did try to create a account with them today and was unable to, being here in the United States, or maybe it's the state that I'm in, Texas. BlockFi, we already talked about. Fold and Bitpanda. I've not heard of Bitpanda. Not really sure exactly what it is. So we're going to get to the comments here in just a minute, and we'll also have a Q&A time. But there's certainly demand, because in a March survey, Visa found that 25% of Latin Americans would like to experiment with cryptocurrency payments. So this is a key here as well. Again, once people potentially realize the tax implications, I wonder if for many this is a novelty. It's just something they want to be able to say that they've done. Obviously, I see where it would make them feel good to be able to be spending, their crypto and all that. But I'm just wondering. I would like to read more about this survey, and I'm actually probably gonna actually pull that up, open link in new tab, and let's go back to this right now. But so supposedly there's a lot of demand there. And then number 3, Kelly said, third area for Visa is helping financial institutions and fintechs to offer crypto to their customers. He said the company has created an API to allow customers of financial institutions to buy, store, and trade digital currencies held by Anchorage, which I don't know a lot about Anchorage, but I'm going to have to look that up as well. Visa has also worked with First Boulevard, a digital neobank, and the neobank's mission is to promote generational wealth in the Black community. Okay, interesting. Settlement of crypto. Next up is settlement. Kelly boasted that Visa infrastructure lets financial institutions settle transactions in the U.S. dollar pegged stablecoin USDC. Okay. Again, tax benefits or tax implications nonetheless, because it's still a asset, not a currency. But it says in December 2020, Visa partnered with Circle, the company that creates USDC, along with Coinbase to integrate USDC. Later, Visa conducted a trial with Crypto.com, which sent USDC to Visa's Ethereum address at crypto custody service Anchorage. So that's what Anchorage is. Visa announced on March 29th that the company completed its first USDC transaction on the Ethereum blockchain. Very interesting. That's one of the things that Ethereum and even Cardano, which is ADA, so that's why you want to look at Cardano as well. There is a huge untapped, I guess, capability with regards to the Ethereum blockchain and Cardano's blockchain with regards to settlement. In other words, think of all the companies that have to pay invoices or get paid. Either you're on the paying end or you're the payer or the payee. We're talking about seconds, and Cardano actually, although Ethereum is more popular, Cardano is going to be faster, more transactions, cheaper. Ethereum's trying to improve a lot of their things with this next fork that's coming up, but I don't think it's still not going to be as robust as the Cardano equivalent, and they're also getting into NFTs, and I'm digressing, but I look up NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and all of the applications that are going to be coming out for that, well beyond art and music, as important as those are for musicians and artists, truly probably create a renaissance in those areas, but it's so much more than that. But settling USDC adds to the 160 currencies the company transacts in each day. Okay, go beyond that. Central bank digital currencies. Many central banks around the world are mulling the launch of digital versions of their fiat currencies. They're known as central bank digital currencies. Visa wants to ride the wave and is busy trying to source central banks as clients. And that's it. So I guess the point here is that there is significant momentum behind cryptocurrency in general, Bitcoin, Ethereum, especially, honestly. Bitcoin as a store of value, Bitcoin as a way to pay for probably more expensive assets, to be used as collateral for loans in a fiat currency, just all kinds of derivatives of all of that. So it's here to stay. It's going to start impacting people's everyday lives. And, the cryptocurrency market is making millionaires and billionaires, and it's really available to anyone. So don't just go out there and do it blindly. I would say, hey, I'm even available for, let's say, a Zoom call or something like that, especially if you're someone that's really new to this and want more one-on-one guidance. I'm even thinking about starting an investment club for at least those folks that are local, those kinds of things. People are going to need to know more and more about this, and not only just to be a participant in this new economy in a sense, but also those that want to be in on the wealth that it can generate as well. So I'm seeing that we've got quite a few people joining, so do want to highlight, and hi, I'm from India, please help me, I need online work. Okay. Well, I would suggest that, one of the things you can do is go to Fiverr and set up an account. Let me know what kind of work you do. And I would also say, start investing a small amount in cryptocurrency, start out small, and I think you'd be surprised what kind of money you can generate that way. Manny, hey, my friend, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Yes, I know. It's 68 now, my friend. But yeah, I get it. It's really an interesting thing to think through. Is it still too late, to get in? I'm actually, wondering how many people are now thinking that they might actually be even afraid to get in because it's 64 cents, 67 cents, even 68 now. It's going crazy. What happens if it then drops to 30 or something like that, right? So this is a double-edged sword, I believe. Again, I'm just sharing my thoughts, my opinions. There are a lot of people out there that not even thinking twice, obviously, at getting in at this price. eToro, 20 million people, I think, use eToro, so it was exposed to a lot of international people that maybe didn't have access to it previously. There's at least 2 other exchanges that announced today that you can buy Dogecoin on their platforms. There's a couple of others that I found that actually have been available to people for a month or 2. They're just maybe a little bit more obscure. So yeah, I get it. I mean, this is the other reason why, honestly, that I don't want to make my channel about Dogecoin specifically, even though we talk about it a fair amount. As I've mentioned, really from day one, you want to diversify. So there are other cryptocurrencies that I'm certainly passionate about. Want to, I've started acquiring more of. The thing that's cool about Dogecoin is it was truly my first coin, my first entry into crypto space, the crypto market space, and I've learned a lot in about a month. And now I own some Cardano. I own what else do I own? VeChain. I have some USDC that I'm earning 9% interest on. I'm thinking heavily about getting some DOT. What else? Tezos potentially. Solano is kind of expensive, but I hear that's I'm reading a lot about that being very, very good. So there's a lot of options out there. So diversify. Some of these that I'm mentioning are still very accessible, if you will, with regards to their price. They're not. They're all of the ones that I mentioned, other than Dogecoin, or it's some multiple of Dogecoin. Cardano's around, I think, $1.30 or so. Well, I take that back. VeChain is the one it's like 20 cents. So it's probably not going to grow as fast as Dogecoin, but look at VeChain. Don't take my word for it. This is not financial advice, but spend some time checking up on VeChain. I'm not saying it will grow as fast, but it actually may have more legs ultimately over the years than even Dogecoin, because it has a different purpose. Dogecoin, again, it's not it. I feel at times that I've got to somehow clarify myself because there's so much passion around Dogecoin. But Dogecoin, again, I think it's perfectly architected. It's the perfect coin to be used as a alternative to fiat. At the everyday level. And of course, if you have enough of it, sure, buy a Lamborghini or buy a Bugatti. But some of these other projects, as they're normally called, like VeChain, are solving really important, complex problems. Cardano as well. Cardano, I think, recently has gotten a lot of flack from those that just want to make money because they're solving problems in Africa and other places where, maybe it's not as glamorous, but they're actually doing some really amazing things. And so Cardano, I believe, will have its day. Who knows? It could catch up with Ethereum one day. And if that means $20,000, then get some Cardano now while it's still only $1.30. If you miss the Doge coin, run to be a millionaire, there's other options. That's the great thing, right? Or even 100,000, 200,000, whatever your goals were. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I missed some of this. My supervisor's Doge profit is 6K. Yeah. Well, I'll just be honest. I had at one point in time, what was it? Yeah. At one point in time, I think I had 30,000 Dogecoin, and a lot of different reasons why I don't have that much anymore. I'll just put it that way. And I learned honestly from that. I've told the story a number of times in one of these episodes at probably at length, but basically sold to make some profit so I could buy some more, and it shot up. That was that day, the 16th of April, I think it was, where it went all the way up to 45. And, actually it had then come back down to 25 after that. And I just didn't move when I should have moved. But again, I'm actually encouraged. I'm not losing sleep over the fact that I maybe didn't fully optimize that opportunity. There's a lot of it I'm learning because of Dogecoin, of all the other opportunities that are actually out there. So I'm actually encouraged, but I get the feeling, if I had, when I first started buying, it was at 5 cents a coin. Yeah, that's Mad Dog. I think that's a good approach. This is what scares me a little bit about not only this cycle that we're going through leading up to the Saturday Night Live thing, is the same thing that I think happened on 420 Doge Day. I think it would seem, just a sense that I have, that a lot of people spent money that, again, they didn't have. It was for their rent, for their mortgage, for the car insurance, to buy a car, the car payment, electric bill, all those kinds of things. And they didn't do the research on their own. They just, saw all the things on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube, and all that stuff's great. But, they bought, hoping it would get to a certain point where it didn't get to. And then some of them sold at a loss. And, now they don't have all the money they needed to pay their mortgage or whatever it is. So regardless of how promising it may be, regardless of what even the most, the smartest person in the world with regards to cryptocurrency, they ultimately can't make that decision for you. They can't control the market, even though they may have a ton of good insight. The market still gets to decide what it's going to do. And so, yeah, don't spend money you don't have. And if you're going to spend money, invest money, I should say, really, in cryptocurrency, two things. One, we've already said, which is don't invest money that you're not willing to lose. And also, don't invest money that you're not willing to wait on the time that it takes for it to perform. It may or may not, and it may dip for a while. You need to be able to have the patience to wait. Unless you got into, unfortunately, a 100% hyped thing that you may never recover from. I've not watched it closely, but Safe Moon, I think that's what it's called. It was, I believe, 3,000% down at one point after it having done really, really well. So Safe Moon, yeah, you got to be careful. That's all I can say. But I will say, with Dogecoin being number 4 on the top 10 list, that's pretty impressive. And I think Dogecoin is here to stay. Don't get me wrong, but if you buy in at 68 cents and it goes down to 45, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I get it, Mad Dog. So I don't, if you came in late, rewind this once we're done. And I talked about, you may or may not want simple, and it's perfectly fine, but I'm using Voyager because, again, I'm perfectly fine with admitting that I'm still somewhat new to all this. Voyager has literally all of the coins I would want to earn interest off of, including USDC. USDC won't appreciate as an asset, but you can earn 9% interest on it. You can earn 5.25% interest on Ethereum. You can earn, I think, roughly the same thing, and I could bring it up again, but just do a rewind on this later tonight. But Cardano, DOT, I'm heavily thinking about DOT. So for, and I'll go back to it actually here in a second, but for $900 basically, because there's a minimum, $900 at the current price of DOT, which I think is around $36, and you have to have 25, I think it is, 25 coins, you can start earning interest. Matter of fact, let me just pull that up again real quick because I had it up. Might as well pull it up again. So here again, excuse me, is the list on Voyager of the assets you can earn interest on. So USDC, stablecoin, 9%. Bitcoin, 6.25%. Not bad. Ethereum, 5.25%. You only have to have half of a coin. Here you have to have, what would that be? 1/10 of a coin. That's actually not a lot, I don't think, of Bitcoin. Polkadot, 8%. And this is something that's been, I think, as high as $50 a coin, and it's 30 something right now, 36. A lot of promise behind this. This is very encouraging to me. Cardano, 5.25. You do have to have 1,000. So we're looking at about $1,300 investment right now, but to earn, again, 5.25% interest, but on an asset that's going to be appreciating potentially significantly over the next several years. And again, the other thing that's nice about this is you can pull these out at any point in time. Dogecoin, 2% on. Pretty cool. Uniswap, not a lot percentage-wise, but I hear a lot of good things about Uniswap. Tezos, I also hear lots of good things about. So anyway, yes, Mad Dog, I think I would... There's other options out there. A lot of them are complex. A lot of them have periods of time where you can't use them, where they have to stay in there, and those are the ones where you're going to be able to earn more interest. So it just depends on how important it is to you to earn top dollar on your interest. I would actually prefer a little bit of liquidity myself. So that's what I like about Voyager. I'm currently at 22 coins with average. Yeah, I'm not going to buy in. Just going to focus. Yep. No, I get it. I get it. Hey, just write it up to $1 and then decide what to do, and maybe you sell that and anticipating it's gonna all go down. I don't know. You'll get to make that decision, but there's a lot of good stocks out there. Here's the thing that I think we all have to be cautious of. I mean, I've learned this by just doing this for a month. It is, for many of us, I'm sure, literally addictive with regards to this crypto, because it's not because it's gambling. I don't really consider it gambling. I think you can do this where it's not luck per se. And some gambling, I guess you could argue, has skill, but let's just talk about it generically. I don't compare the two. But what I'm about to say is it still can become, I think, honestly, an addiction where you're looking for that 20% increase every day. And, going after that, you can find yourself making poor decisions. So you need discipline, I would argue. And it can be hard to have that discipline especially when you've got something like Dogecoin that has risen so much like it has. And I'm not going to say that there's not any out there, but the YouTube channels that are right now at least almost 100% focused on Dogecoin, it's pumping all the time, right? There doesn't seem to be any necessarily sound, not advice, because we can't give financial advice, but you know what I mean. In other words, cautious, encouraging people to be cautious, encouraging people to use wisdom, encouraging people to understand really the risk and make sure that they have heard that multiple times. All those things are important as well. Like I've said multiple times, I would love to see that a large percentage of those that have become regulars on this stream, are able to come back on the stream and say, hey, I actually was able to make some life-changing money with this, or I'm going to ride it out longer because I think it's going to go to X or go to Y. I'm going to love all those stories. What I would be honestly devastated about is to have people come on the stream and say, for example, and it may not happen, hey, I bought in at 69, it went to $1.25, and I'm sitting there waiting on it to go to 3, and instead of it going to 3, it's now back to 25. And now what do? Do I wait for maybe 3 years for it to get back up to where I at least get my money out? Do I sell it and say, oh well, what do I do, right? I would hope that no one finds themselves in that position, especially if we're talking about someone investing, let's say $20,000 or $5,000. $1,000 is a lot for a lot of people. So all those things are important. I honestly don't hear a lot of people talking about that. Maybe that's one of the things that I can add to the conversation, the voice of reason, that kind of thing. But nonetheless. So I do want to mention real quick, while we're about an hour in now, and we're going to keep going, but I'm actually at, can you believe it, 499, at least when I started, 499 subscribers. So I'm looking for actually 501 more, but one more would get me to 500. 501 would get me to 1,000. I'm pushing forth, so I appreciate everyone that's joining these live streams, either live or watching the replay. It means a ton to me, because I'm trying to get into that elusive YouTube partner program, and that requires 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. So you guys go back and watch the Dogecoin playlist and just let that run. That would help a lot. But thanks again for being a part of this. But go follow me on Twitter if you haven't, and on Instagram, and it's Shane Trammel. That's up in the top right. Basically, my handle on Instagram and Twitter is Shane Trammel, and on Twitter, at least turn on notification if you're up for that. That way, when I post that I'm going live and those types of things, you'll know about it, and then turn on the notifications here, because I've heard that notifications sometimes even on YouTube doesn't work. So enough about that. I want to get back to talking about what y'all want to talk about. But any help you can, if you're getting anything out of this, that's the first thing I want to know. If you're getting value, whether that's knowledge that you don't have, or being entertained, possibly, whatever it is, you get to determine what's valuable to you. But if you are getting some value out of this, any type of sharing out that you can do would be much appreciated, and I do thank you for it. Hey, you're going to sell off entire XRP and put into Doge tomorrow. I'm scared. Okay. Well, I'm gonna. You don't have to tell me, but I'm curious if you want to give me a ballpark range of how much you're talking about dollar-wise, because honestly, I would hate for you to, depending on, I know XRP is moving kind of slow for many people. Dogecoin is obviously moving faster, but depending on how long you've been on, you've probably heard about all the cautions that I'm trying to put out there. I do want to be at least one of hopefully a number of people that are you want to at least share cautious optimism as opposed to just blind optimism. And I know that people say that XRP is going to be amazing once the SEC issue is resolved. There's no way to know for sure if it will be resolved. Most people think that it will, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to get out of XRP. But depending on how much we're talking about, I also don't believe that you should put it all into Dogecoin, or I should say it that way. I probably would not put it all into Dogecoin unless you've got some other investments in some other crypto or stocks or both, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, my friend. Hey, Mad Dog, wow. This is a perfect example. I appreciate you sharing it. This is exactly the same. I'm sorry that this happened to you, by the way. 6,000 is better than 0, or not as good as 40, but I'm glad that you're still making profits. But this is exactly the point that I'm trying to make. This same kind of thing happened to people on 420. They expected it to get to a certain level and it didn't. Went back down. If anyone 420 that bought in on 420, obviously if they held it all, they're doing really, really good right now. I know that SafeMoon's not quite the same, experiencing the same kind of thing right now. So, but it does help bring up a good point, which is, at some point you have to decide for you and not feel guilty about taking some profits. Again, if you go and look at the Twitter feeds, the lion's share of the things that you see, and as much as I can appreciate the exuberance, you see, almost, and I say this somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but almost hate, communicated for anyone that would consider selling, or highly encouraging people to hold. Well, I can't imagine what those same people would feel like if you held, and then, didn't sell at 1, and again, it goes down to 40. And what would make matters even worse is, they might have sold at 1, and yet they're telling everyone else to hold. So you got to cover yourself. You got to protect yourself. It's nothing wrong with being on, the bandwagon, so to speak, but you do have to be careful. You do have to be careful. Yeah, Mad Dog, as much as I want to be, as much as I want people to join this stream because they want to talk about Doge, I'm honestly, for the most part, in the same boat. I tested it today a little bit, and again, hindsight's 2020. But now that I'm further down my journey of crypto, especially, and stocks, I'm also invested in those. But now that I'm, I think, at least a month wiser than I was otherwise, I've done pretty good, honestly. Not just with Doge. So I took some early profits And although I didn't get back into Dogecoin, unfortunately, I'll say, but because I didn't get back into it because of some of my own insecurities, which I'd rather do that than to jump in anyway and say, screw it, and then, basically lose it all or most of it. So I've been able to grow a, pretty good investment. I've more than doubled. I've tripled my money. So I'm not going to disclose just whatever. I mean, I took a certain amount and I've now tripled that. And that's not only through Doge, but Dogecoin certainly helped me get to that first wave. I have done a number of things. I've bought some Cardano that's not necessarily made a ton, but I've also day traded, honestly, Ethereum over the last couple of days and made a good amount of money there. And just some other coins, have done well for me. So I've moved on, to doing things other than on Robinhood, for example. Like I said, Voyager, because I can get not only interest, but I can get some of those other altcoins that I have, determined that I want to be invested in. So I'm sure there are some not so good things about Voyager. The one that I hear about is it's hard to get your money out at times. Not hard to get it out, but takes a while is what I really mean. And I've also heard that the waiting period can be kind of long. I think that's maybe an old post that maybe has been out there, but I believe it literally took me minutes. I mean, within a couple of hours, if not a few minutes, I was definitely within the same day, I was able to verify my account, get money in there, get it funded. They give you up to $5,000 immediately. What I mean by that is if you transfer, you can transfer 10,000, but you get, I think, 5,000 of that immediately. That's better than Robinhood. That's better than Webull. They don't do stocks, but if you're just doing crypto, and if you want more than Dogecoin, I should say if you want more than Dogecoin, Bitcoin and Ethereum, those are the three main ones as far as I'm concerned that Robinhood has. And Webull doesn't actually have many more either. Then I'm happy with Voyager. It's free. You can do a limit buy and a limit sell. They do build in a certain amount of spread, so there are no fees technically, but they build in, I think, some kind of a spread fee or whatever that you don't necessarily see, but it's there. But I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that because it's easy to use. I would like to see the interface get a little bit better, but the one thing I do like about it, again, I also reach a good number of people that are new to this, never actually done crypto at all. And so again, if that's you and you're watching live right now, or if you're watching the replay, send me a direct message or whatever. Get in contact with me through the comments if you have more questions. But I would say Robinhood and honestly Voyager if you're mostly wanting to do cryptocurrency. If you're wanting to also do stocks, then definitely Robinhood and Webull. Between those two, you can do more stocks as well. But I use all three, right? I use Robinhood, I use Webull, I use Voyager. I have a BlockFi account. I have a BitPay account now. I'm actually signed up for KuCoin and OKCoin. I haven't used them yet. Some of those interfaces, I guess once you get used to them, they're really cool. They all seem to be a variation of Binance. I don't know who copied who. Kraken, lots of them out there. But for those of you that are brand spanking new, as they say, to crypto, don't make it hard on yourself. You're not going to make a bad decision as far as I'm concerned using these quote unquote easy platforms. You can graduate, right? You can graduate at some point to some of those others that I mentioned: Coinbase, Kraken, KuCoin, OKCoin, Gemini, I think, is another one. There's Bittrex. There's a ton of them. Binance US if you're in the United States, depending on the state, or Binance for a lot of other places around the world. Most of those have fees. Some of them have in essence, I guess, a buy and a sell, and a lot of them even have transfer fees if you're transferring stuff in or transferring stuff out. So you have to watch out. Now with crypto, hopefully your profits, if you will, are going to be in many cases much better than what they would be on a given stock. So maybe you can quote unquote afford to make some of those fees if what you need is there, right? I mean, if you don't need all the things that are there, I would not also, again, this is not advice, but I'll say it this way. I will never ever you use leverage or margin for crypto or stocks for that matter either. Don't plan on doing it. Never will. Some of these platforms push it, heavily, make it really easy for you to go 10x, 2x, all of those kind of things. So beware and just make sure that you don't get yourself into trouble and get completely liquidated, right? And then you're gone. You wake up one morning and the stock didn't go the right way, and there's in essence a margin call. They liquidate everything you got and you don't have anything. So what is hard maybe for the uninitiated, if you will, is that the whales, as they're called, those that have large holdings in some of these different coins, they have a lot of resources at their disposal. Lots of things that they know that many of us don't know, strategies, all kinds of things. And many times those that are uninitiated are, it's not personal to them, but you become, the fish, the krill that they eat when it's time to feed. So be careful. And there are ways to see, and I've talked about that in the past with Dogecoin and almost every altcoin. There is basically a list where you can look at the wallets and the volume and all of that and just see what's going on. So let's take another brief look at some other things that we might just kind of quote unquote report on, and then see if we've got some more comments coming up. I am going to go ahead and bring up Twitter, bring up my feed, like I said, because it's kind of my way of taking notes. I, like many of you, have a full-time job, so this is something I do with my spare time, and I enjoy it. But and we're trying to grow this channel, as I mentioned, but that means that I can't actually be up on everything, but I do try to throughout the day, in essence, send stuff to myself that I can look at later. So definitely go follow me on Twitter and turn on the notifications so that you'll know when I've posted some things. I've pinned the link to BlockFi because I think it's really a really cool thing. Excuse me. Here's an article on Ethereum Classic, actually performing really well. Another person that I suggest that you watch all the videos you can on and stuff is Michael Saylor. He is the founder and CEO of MicroStrategy, and MIT graduate, just a genius. Didn't study economics in college from what I understand, but he, I think, has an amazing grasp on monetary policy in general, certainly the U.S. monetary policy and where it's going awry. And he is a maximalist, as they're called, which believes that basically Bitcoin is the only thing that you need to be invested in with regards to crypto. Now, who knows if in his personal portfolio he doesn't actually have some other things, but to hear him talk and what he tells all over, speaking, all the time on this, he's a maximalist. And I thought it was interesting today. I was watching a interview with him, and he was basically saying, hey, you don't need to, most of the things that you might learn in college, for example, even right now on cryptocurrency, the blockchain, all that, he's like, it's already out of date, it's years old, and you can learn just about anything you need to learn on the internet, basically, on YouTube. And I believe that he's right. This is interesting, so I do want to pull this up. This is a retweet on, and this is a Cardano, or I got this from following a Cardano, hashtag or something on Twitter. So this is a list of company complaints about inflation. So we're actually going to drill down on this, and I'm just going to skim this because there's a lot here. But so this is about companies hiking prices in response to soaring inflation. Anybody that would tell you we're not experiencing inflation right now is obviously living under a rock, or they have more money than they know what to do with and don't spend it themselves. Someone else spends it for them. Any number of other crazy reasons why, but it's certainly not news to me that we're experiencing inflation. Warren Buffett spoke at Berkshire Hathaway's annual meeting, I think on May 2nd, maybe it was May 1st, and basically said the same thing, that they were being hit with inflation from their suppliers, vendors, and they were basically passing it on, and no one was making an issue of it. There's a problem right now in many ways that actually, surprisingly, I guess, we're economically right now we're doing pretty good, and a lot of people are not. They're just paying whatever it is and not saying anything about it, but it's out there. Earlier today, we noted the one thing that every company was obsessing during their quarter one earnings call was inflation. It says here that inflation quadrupled year over year, and after last week, mentions have exploded nearly 800% year over year. People talking about it, basically. More striking was the observation that as mentions of inflation skyrocket to near record highs from 2011, these point to, at the very least, transitory hyperinflation ahead. Transitory is the key, which means, passing. In other words, come and go. But we'll learn as we talk through this a little bit more. Not so certain, honestly, that it's transitory in nature. It's like when a company takes away a benefit because the economy's bad, let's say, or whatever. Do they ever add the benefit back? Some may. Most of them don't. I used to work for a company, I'll leave them unnamed, but worked for a company that took away some of our benefits during the .com kind of bust period of time. And they took away a number of things. Do you think that they ever brought them back? And they're like one of the largest software companies in the world. They didn't bring it back. But a few years later, record earnings, all of that, the benefits did not come back. And we're going to read here in a minute, same thing with regards to changes in packaging, if you will, where you're buying, it looks on the outside like you're generally buying the same thing, but you're actually paying the same price for something that's not as much in there anymore. So in other words, outside packaging wise, it's labeled correctly. It's less. They're going to be talking about paper towels, I think, but the size of it and the price of it's the same, so it's like a hidden inflation. So anyway, what is more concerning is that not only are these companies talking about inflation, they're also responding to soaring input cost by hiking prices either in absolute terms or stealth shrinkflation. That's what I was talking about. Stealth shrinkflation. That's even hard to say. Shrinkflation. Shrinkflation. So a example was presented of the latter over the weekend when we showed how Costco was masking nearly 15% inflation. That's crazy. Told you, 15%. That's what I said earlier in the live stream, and I didn't say that 15% necessarily because it's in here, because I didn't remember that exact number, but you can find a number of references where 15%, not the consumer price index. Consumer price index, I think, is normally around 2 or 3% or something like that, but 15%, 20% is probably more realistic. Was making nearly 15% inflation by selling a paper roll with 140 sheets for the same price it used to sell 160 sheets. So literally just 20 sheets different, but nonetheless, I guess that's saving them money. Of course, once the companies realize they can get away with such shrinkflation, and they will, the grammar in this article is really bad. I think there should be a comma there. And they will, comma, because as a member of the Red Flags Deals message board pointed out, I tried telling the clerk at Costco about this, and they said, who cares? It's just 20 sheets. Well, you should care, right? Because you're basically getting less, paying the same price, getting less. So that's inflation. The obvious next step will be to no longer bother with such attempts at masking double-digit inflation and to hike prices outright until there's an actual decline in supply. Or, as TBD predicts, this is the precursor to real inflation next. Real or otherwise, it's basically the same, right? And sure enough, names for consumer giants from Kimberly-Clark, Clorox, Procter & Gamble, as well as food makers such as Hormel, J.M. Smucker, General Mills, Skippy, Hershey are already doing just that. You can bet your bottom dollar, as they say, that the average corporate giant is going to pass on their cost to you. They're not going to eat it. And, yes, they have to report quarterly earnings and all of that. And so, but the consumer that wants to, earn really good money on their stocks on that, they're basically paying for it anyway in inflation if they consume any products from these companies and others. But they say, don't worry, according to the chairman, it's transitory, or maybe it won't be, as increasingly more banks are starting to speculate. I also heard today that can't keep the interest rates down forever. The U.S. Treasury Secretary, I believe, basically came out today and was like, even though the Fed said we need to keep them down, I think she's basically saying they can't stay that way forever. And then again, which I've already said, one thing we do know, once companies hike prices, they almost never cut them again. In fact, most companies would rather file bankruptcy rather than reverse their pricing strategy, especially since among the most striking outcomes of Q1 earnings season are record high profit margins. Well, guess what happens to those margins as input costs continue to soar? Either they collapse and turn negative, or companies hike prices. And obviously they pick the higher prices. And I am not going to go through actually even any of these, but some of the different areas that are being impacted: industrials, staples. In other words, staple items, not staple the company, but what they call staple items. Materials, tech, consumer discretionary. Just more and more instances, in other words, in each of these categories. Materials, staples again, materials, industrials, consumer discretionary, healthcare. And so you can see that there's all kinds of examples in this article. So the reason that I even bring this up, and I think this is probably where we will move into Q&A if there's questions, or we will go ahead and say good night for tonight. But the reason I even brought this up is your money being in a savings account, your money being in the bank, your money being in a CD or a money market, all of that, 0.5%, maybe 1% if you're lucky, those types of things. And the traditional means for trying to stay ahead of inflation don't work anymore because you can't earn enough interest, for example, to do it. Stock market, by and large, is doing great. It could have a big correction across a lot of different areas, and there was a lot of things that were read today. A lot of the stocks that I believe that over time or throughout this year are going to perform really well. A lot of them were in the red. Maybe we'll pull those up again real quick before we do end. Point is you need to think about it for yourself, make your own decisions. But the crypto market space has been, for a number of years, a place to hedge against inflation through the right investments. I was just not a part of that. I wasn't. That wasn't something I was looking into, evaluating. I was just moving on my everyday life, and it was just completely out of the picture. I'm thankful that I'm forcing myself to learn more about it, investing. Cautiously investing, all those kinds of things. I'm just glad I started. Wish I'd started 5 years ago, but I didn't. So I do want to bring up, and I guess it's not up right now, so I'm going to bring up my Webull desktop. And then we will end with going over a few stocks and looking at how those are doing. If it will come up. Here we go. Okay. So let's look at a few things here real quick. So Dogecoin was at around 68. It's a good thing maybe you didn't buy just a few minutes ago. 68, it's now 66. XRP, I know someone was talking about getting out of XRP. It's at 143. It's down 3% today. Bitcoin is suffering today. It's been on a mostly downward slope all day long. Ethereum has been doing really, really well. It was as high as 35. VeChain 19. So this is where I was talking about. This is still something that has, I would argue, again, as much as I love Dogecoin, has a lot more legs ultimately than Dogecoin does with regards to price targets. I'm talking 5 to 10 year price targets. It's not going to grow as fast as Dogecoin because of the way Dogecoin has grown, and it's perfectly fine that it's grown the way that it has. But I think when we look at ultimate market cap, eventual market cap, those types of things, VeChain is another opportunity for you to get into something that you may have missed with Dogecoin if you did. I'm not saying Dogecoin is out of the picture right now, but like some of our friends have already said, as I would argue that it's volatile, right? All of these things are volatile, but Dogecoin right now is approaching a point where if you get in now and and the top is reached, then the only place to go is down as people decide to sell. So don't get caught. Palantir is the first stock. Again, we've talked about this multiple times. It's got a $45 52-week high. It has been struggling. It has been staying in this low 20s for a while, but all the analysts that I follow have nothing but good things to say about where Palantir is ultimately headed. Lots of good contracts with the government, solving a lot of really, really good problems. Their stock's just struggling. NEO, I would say, is a good buy right now. It's been going down last couple of days a little bit, but you can see here that was the high back in January, and it's been working its way down. But NEO, I've talked about it before. They are an EV, electronic vehicle manufacturer in China. Had really good earnings report. Have a really aggressive plan for the rest of this year. Next year, will compete already. They already do compete with Tesla in a certain range of cars, mostly the luxury, let's say. But they got a lot of really cool things coming out. So if you want to diversify, and again, if you can wait on something to give it the time to start that upward trend, then NEO may be something you want to look at. Tesla's still struggling as well. It lost $11 today. In aftermarket trading, it got up to $675, but it's still way off of its 52-week high of 900. There are those that suggest that at 900 it was overvalued, but we know, just like with Dogecoin, there are fundamentals, quote unquote, and then there's what people believe something's worth. And if enough people are willing to pay what they think it is, what they want to pay for it, then obviously that's going to determine the prices. XPeng, another stock, another EV. This has even more upside potential, at least with regards to getting back to its 52-week high. It's at 28 right now, 29 basically, and its 52-week high was 74.49. So it's a better play than NEO is with regards to the profit that it could make between where it's at right now and the 52-week high. But I would actually, and I actually am, I'm actually invested in both of these, both XPeng and NEO, and I'll be buying back into Tesla. And maybe now's the right time to do that. I've been trying to kind of wait and test and see where Tesla's a low point is. And so probably the best thing to do with Tesla is to watch it literally every day, multiple times a day, and buy back in once it starts kind of going back up. In other words, I would rather miss on the lowest of the lows and buy in when it's at the beginning of its bull run, or a bull cycle, if you can say that. Sundial, I don't know all the fundamentals on this. I just know a lot of people have been pushing it because basically it's at 80 cents, so it's about what, 1/4, a little over 1/4 of the price of what it used to be at 390 52-week high. So maybe not, but I'm not so sure about it. PayPal is pretty expensive and it's down, but this is also something that has a little bit of upside with regards to the 52-week high. But PayPal, strategically, as we've talked about, is going to be a big player. I think it's definitely something I want in my portfolio. It's not in my portfolio yet. Square as well. Another one that I would want to be into. Nvidia, I thought was going to be a good one to be into, and it may still be, but it's also seen it lost $19 just today. Teladoc, I think, has a lot of potential. It's about half as well of its 52-week high, and as telemedicine potentially becomes even more of a common thing, even once maybe we return back to quote-unquote normal as COVID-19 continues to seemingly subside for the most part. So Teladoc is also something you might want to look at. Skills is also one that I just put on my watch list today. I've heard about it, but it's $16.96 right now, and a 52-week high of 46. Again, there's, from what I understand, very innovative with regards to their gaming platform, and going to be even more and more popular. This is also one that Kathy Wood has added to her ARC Innovation ETF. That's right here. I didn't actually show that, but ARC Innovation, that's an ETF with about 51 different stocks in it, where they focus on disruptive companies that are, disrupting, and innovating in one way or another in their space. And Skills is one of those. So it's, not too, well, actually, where's its 52-week? Yeah, that's weird that the 52-week high moved. 159, 52-week high, it's 113. Kathy Wood, read up on her a little bit. From what I know of her, she's highly regarded as being a really good fund manager. So, for what that's worth. All right, so do have a few more comments to get to. Mad Dog is still with me, so I've only been doing stocks since February. I see so much whale manipulation. Yep, it's true. I mean, the best thing you can do is kind of learn how to have some insight into what they're doing. Obviously, they have more resources, more money, so it's hard to fight them per se. So you kind of want to follow them to the extent that you can. From what I understand, at least, as with certain equities and crypto, as it becomes less and less concentrated, and as the market cap becomes more and more, then they have less of an impact, but they still do have an impact. And I've also learned that they're very smart about, there's these, they're either monthly or quarterly or whatever option calls, and they're smart enough to know how to even manipulate that, and to basically force, especially people that are leveraged, right? Especially people that are leveraged on these either puts or calls. They'll put on the pressure, even temporarily, willing to basically lose money to push the stock either up or down, whichever direction they think that needs to go, in order to cause these put and option folks to get out. And again, if they're on margin and their accounts get liquidated, then now there's more of that particular stock or crypto available at a cheaper price. And in the end, the almost said wolf, the whale, knows how to manipulate that and take advantage of it. I don't even know how to begin, honestly. Just kind of learning. Okay, so let's say you have an leaked XD. Hey, I hope you're still on. I know I went kind of long on that, on talking through some of the stocks, but I hope you'll subscribe, turn on notifications so you'll know when we go live next. So thanks for joining. But you've got a comment here, say that I have $1 invest in Doge as of right now, and let's look at it. It's at 68 right now. Does that mean whenever the Doge hits $1, I'll make some thousand? No. So $1, and if you invest $1 right now, you're not even going to get 2 Dogecoin, right? So it's 68 cents per Dogecoin. And so if it goes up to $1, then you're going to, let's just make it easy. Let's say it is 65 cents right now, right? So 65 and 65 is 130, so $1.30, right? And if it goes up to $1, you're going to get $2 and do the math. So only way you're going to make thousands is you would need to buy several thousand Dogecoin. So take 1,000. If you wanted to make 1,000, if you wanted to make 1,000 or more, you just got to do the math. You got to say, 1,000 times 68. That would give you 1,000 Dogecoin, but then you're going to have enough that if it goes up to $1, that you actually make $1 if you're going to make 1,000. So, again, this is probably almost a no-no. I'll just say it this way. Only a no-no in the sense that I could care less, but I'll probably have some people that won't want to listen to me because I'm not just rah cheering Dogecoin right now. I mean, if it goes to $1 and you buy in right now, it's a no-brainer. But here's the potential problem. I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm saying use common sense. Make sure that it's money that you can lose or money that you can wait on, because what is very possible is that it goes up to $1, maybe leading up to the 8th, so May 7th, or maybe May 8th when Elon, goes on Saturday Night Live. The Dogecoin especially is very heavily, is driven by, the everybody talking about it, being excited about it on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the different things. And so that gets a lot of people in and buying. And there are real whales with Dogecoin. We're talking about people that have literally billions of shares, and they can also manipulate the market and keep the price literally for days. They've done this already in the last month, kept Dogecoin at 34 cents, for several days, 37, 38 for several days. And it's very obvious that they seemingly have kind of lifted their hands right now. I've not looked into it, but it's moved. The market for Dogecoin has moved considerably more over the last several days than it had in the previous, 10 or so. But anyway, that being said, just be careful if it goes to $1. And then people that were saying hold or hodl, HODL, hold on for dear life, they could be saying that, but then having every intention of selling when it gets to $1. And if a bunch of people start selling at $1, it's going to go down really, really fast. It's just called supply and demand. It's the way the stock market works. It's the way cryptocurrency market works. As more people are selling, the price is going to go down more, and you could be, quote unquote, left holding the bag, and you're left at a price of 25 cents. Let's just using that example. And if you bought right now at 68 cents, then you've lost whatever that would be, right? 65 minus 25. And so that wouldn't be good. So use some common sense there and try to be smart about what you're doing. I promise that the only thing I need to understand, then I'll understand. Okay, I think I've answered your question. Hey, Rat Rex, how's it going, my friend? Just found out that my big commerce store will not accept BitPay. Oh, man, that's a bummer. They're not interested. Interesting. Told them they were really missing out. Yeah, I mean, even if, why not? Anyway, here's the thing about it. I don't know how much it cost. Maybe they've checked it out. Maybe they've, found out it's got to be cheaper than processing or accepting. It's definitely cheaper than accepting regular credit cards, right? In other words, the transaction fee would be cheaper. I don't know why they wouldn't bother. So that's really interesting to me. I'm not sure. Did they tell you anything more about why, or did they just say not interested? But I haven't. I'm curious what other. I'm going to look up while I'm just waiting to see if there's more comments. I'm going to see if BitPay and Etsy. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know why that showed up. It showed up to looked like it was listed there. Okay, well, I was just looking to see if Etsy, for example, accepted it, or what's one of the other ones? Squarespace and BitPay. Here we go. Okay, I found something that I think is interesting. Let's look at this. Here is integrations. So WooCommerce, I guess, or not, you have BigCommerce. So open source plugins. BitPay develops and maintains plugins for many of the world's most popular open source e-commerce solutions. So WooCommerce, Magento 1 and 2, UberCart, Drupal, ZenCart. Okay, so that's and here's the integrated solution. So Shopify, which most of us have heard of. Foxy, I've never heard of. 3D Cart, I've not heard of. Blesta, I've not heard of. And then let's see, code libraries. Okay, so they've got PHP, Java, Node.js, Ruby, Python. Wow. So writes and maintains code libraries for today's most popular programming languages. Well, that's a shame. I wish that BigCommerce was on the list. I don't know why they're not, but maybe they'll add it later. Maybe they'll feel like they've are missing the boat at some point. Yeah, I get it. That's a bummer. Yep, I just saw that too. Shopify does. That's no easy thing either to move from like BigCommerce, to Shopify. Remind me again, Rex, what kind of shop you have? It's jewelry, I think, if I remember right. But if it's not, I'm sorry. So Leaked XD, hey, if you're still on, let me know. Did I answer your question? Well, I tell you what. I think we've been going for almost 2 hours, and I talked about at the beginning of the stream, and so those that have maybe joined later in the stream can just watch it over or rewind and watch it. But talked about for those that are new to crypto, want to earn interest and make it where it's easy and all that. You can use Voyager app. That's one of my recommendations. If you've got Bitcoin and Ethereum that you want to earn interest on, you might want to go look at BlockFi. All of those links are in the description for any of those. Obviously, if you use those, I get a benefit in one way or another. It doesn't cost you anymore, and in many cases, you get a benefit as well. So it's kind of a win-win. It helps me to be able to continue to do these streams, and I do appreciate everyone who's joined. If you're watching the replay, I want to thank you as well for watching the replay. If you are watching the replay, go ahead and subscribe, turn on notification. Any of you, smash the like button, and please come follow me on Twitter. That would be amazing. And we are going to come back tomorrow. It will be episode 106. We've blown right through the first 100 days of live streaming every day. Tomorrow will be 106. We're all looking forward to seeing what's going to happen and what the days leading up to May 8th are going to bring with regards to the price of Dogecoin, but even the general market. Be watching Ethereum, I would say, as well. I'll actually end with that. it's very possible that it could end up, making it to 5,000, maybe even this week. Very possible next week. Even if it's just fractional coins, I would highly recommend that you take into consideration investing some in Ethereum, and we'll probably talk more about that in tomorrow's live stream. So until then, have a good one.